Imagine a mother who believes she's a god. Her new husband claims he can see the future and talk to the dead. Together, they believe some people are zombies whose bodies are possessed by dark spirits, and the only way to free them is through death. In 2019, 2 children vanished. Their mother showed no concern. Months later, their bodies were found buried in her husband's backyard. This is the story of Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell. This is Cold Trail. Lori Vallow was born Lori Ryan in 1973 in California. She was described as beautiful, charismatic, and deeply religious. Lori was a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. She married multiple times and had 4 children: Colby, Tylee, JJ, and a son who died as an infant. From the outside, Lori seemed like a devoted mother, but beneath the surface, Lori was developing dangerous beliefs that would lead to unimaginable tragedy. Tylee Ryan was Lori's daughter, 16 years old in 2019. She was smart, outgoing, and protective of her younger brother. Joshua, called JJ, was 7 years old. He had autism and required special care. Lori had adopted JJ with her 4th husband, Charles Vallow. JJ was the biological grandson of Charles's sister. These 2 children loved their mother. They trusted her. They had no idea she was about to betray them in the worst way possible. Chad Daybell was a religious author who wrote books about near-death experiences and the end times. He claimed to have visions of the future. He believed he was a prophet. Chad was married to Tammy Daybell, and they had 5 children. He led a quiet life in rural Idaho, writing books for a small audience of believers. But Chad craved more. He wanted power, devotion, and someone who believed in his delusions. He found that person in Lori Vallow. Lori and Chad met at a religious conference in 2018. They were both involved in extreme fringe beliefs about the end of the world. Chad claimed he and Lori had been married in multiple past lives. He told her she was a goddess, that they were destined to lead people through the apocalypse. Lori was captivated. She believed every word. Their relationship quickly became romantic. But there were obstacles: Lori's husband Charles and Chad's wife Tammy. Those obstacles would soon be eliminated. Lori and Chad developed a twisted belief system. They believed people could be possessed by dark spirits and become zombies. These zombies looked human, but were no longer the person they once were. Lori and Chad claimed they could see these zombies, and they believed the only way to free a zombie's soul was to destroy the body. They created a rating system, judging people as light or dark. This wasn't just fantasy, it was a justification for murder. In July 2019, Lori's husband Charles Vallow was shot and killed in Arizona by Lori's brother Alex Cox. Alex claimed self-defense, saying Charles attacked him. Police initially accepted this story, but the truth was darker. Charles had become concerned about Lori's behavior. He'd tried to have her committed. He'd changed his life insurance beneficiary away from Lori. He was standing in the way of Lori and Chad's future. Charles's death was ruled justified, but it was murder. In September 2019, Lori moved to Idaho to be near Chad. She brought Tylee and JJ with her. On September 8th, Tylee was last seen on a family trip to Yellowstone National Park. On September 23rd, JJ was last seen at school. After that, both children vanished. Lori told different stories to different people. She said Tylee was at college. She said JJ was with relatives. But the children were gone, and Lori showed no concern whatsoever. On October 19th, 2019, Chad Daybell's wife Tammy died suddenly in her sleep. She was only 49 years old and had been in good health. Chad claimed she died of natural causes. He refused an autopsy. Tammy was buried quickly, and then just 2 weeks later, Chad and Lori got married in Hawaii. They celebrated while Tammy's body was still fresh in the grave. Authorities later exhumed Tammy's body. She hadn't died naturally. She'd been murdered. By November 2019, JJ's grandparents were desperate. They hadn't heard from their grandson in months. Lori refused to let them speak to him. They contacted police. Officers went to Lori's apartment to do a welfare check on JJ and Tylee. Lori lied, saying JJ was with a friend in Arizona. Police asked to see the children. Lori refused. The next day, Lori and Chad fled Idaho. They went to Hawaii, living in a beach resort while police searched for the missing children. While police searched desperately for Tylee and JJ, Lori relaxed on Hawaiian beaches. She showed no concern for her missing children. When questioned by police, she refused to cooperate. She wouldn't say where the children were. She claimed they were safe, but she wouldn't prove it. Lori and Chad spent their days at the beach, attending religious gatherings and posting on social media. They acted like newlyweds on vacation. Meanwhile, 2 children were dead. Investigators started connecting the dots. Charles Vallow, dead. Tammy Daybell, dead. Tylee and JJ, missing. Lori's brother Alex Cox, who killed Charles, suddenly died in December 2019 under mysterious circumstances. Everyone close to Lori and Chad who stood in their way was dead or missing. Police obtained search warrants for Chad's property in Idaho. What they found would confirm everyone's worst fears. The children hadn't disappeared. They'd been murdered. On June 9, 2020, FBI agents and police searched Chad Daybell's property in Rexburg, Idaho. They found human remains buried in the backyard. The bodies were identified as Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallow. Tylee had been dismembered and burned. JJ had been bound with duct tape and suffocated. Their bodies had been hidden on Chad's property for months while Lori and Chad honeymooned in Hawaii. The nation was horrified. 2 innocent children murdered by their own mother. Lori Vallow was arrested in Hawaii in February 2020 before the bodies were found. She was charged with desertion and non-support of dependent children. After the bodies were discovered, charges were upgraded to murder. Chad Daybell was arrested on June 9, 2020, the day the children's remains were found. Both were charged with conspiracy to commit murder and first-degree murder. Additional charges were later added for the murders of Tammy Daybell and Charles Vallow. Finally, justice was coming. During the investigation, the depth of Lori and Chad's delusions became clear. They believed they were important figures in the end times. They rated people on a scale of light to dark. Lori had declared Tylee and JJ dark and possessed. She believed they were zombies. She told friends her children had been taken over by evil spirits. In her twisted mind, killing them was an act of mercy. These weren't the actions of insanity. They were calculated murders justified by dangerous beliefs. Lori and Chad's cases moved through the legal system slowly. COVID-19 delayed proceedings. Lori was found incompetent to stand trial in 2021, but was later restored to competency. The prosecution sought the death penalty for both defendants. The trials were separated. Chad and Lori would face justice individually. The world waited to see if these 2 killers would be held accountable for destroying innocent lives in the name of their twisted beliefs. Lori Vallow Daybell's trial began in April 2023 in Boise, Idaho. Prosecutors presented overwhelming evidence: text messages where Lori called her children zombies, financial records showing her collecting JJ's Social Security benefits after his death. Witnesses testified about Lori's strange behavior and bizarre beliefs. The defense tried to claim Lori was under Chad's influence, but the jury didn't buy it. On May 12, 2023, Lori was found guilty of all charges: first-degree murder, conspiracy, finally justice. On July 31st, 2023, Lori Vallow Daybell was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The judge called her crimes the most egregious he had ever seen. Lori showed no remorse. She maintained her bizarre religious beliefs, even claiming she would see her children again in the afterlife. Tylee and JJ's family spoke at sentencing, calling Lori a monster. She would spend the rest of her life behind bars. But for the children she murdered, justice came too late. Chad Daybell's trial began in April 2024. The evidence was even more damning. The children's bodies were found on his property. His DNA was on the tools used to bury them. Text messages showed him planning the murders with Lori. Chad tried to claim innocence, but the jury saw through his lies. On May 30th, 2024, Chad was found guilty on all counts: murder, conspiracy, insurance fraud. The jury recommended the death penalty. The judge agreed. Chad Daybell was sentenced to death. Tylee Ryan was 16 years old. JJ Vallow was 7. Tammy Daybell was 49. Charles Vallow was 62. 4 innocent lives destroyed by greed, delusion, and evil. Lori and Chad believed they were gods, destined for greatness. Instead, they're murderers serving life sentences and awaiting execution. The surviving family members continue to grieve and advocate for the victims. This case shocked the world and reminded us that evil can hide behind religion and a smile. This is Cold Trail. Subscribe and join us as we remember the victims and seek truth.
Thanks for watching.